What's up, everybody? How you doing? Once again, we're back. This is 757 University on location here at Greg's Airbrushing in Chesapeake Square Mall. As always, I'm Coach T. To my left is the one and only
Coach Jacks. What's good, everybody?
Coming here live, 4200 Portsmouth Boulevard in Chesapeake, Virginia, here on Friday afternoon. The first thing we're going to discuss, Coach, we got 4 teams, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 teams from the 757 right now playing in the state semifinals tomorrow. In 6A, we got Oscar Smith, the undefeated Southeastern District champion. In Class 5A, we got Indian River High School, also out of Chesapeake, Virginia. In Class 4A, we have the undefeated Eastern District champion, the Lake Taylor Titans, the defending state champion also. And then in Class 3A, we have the 9-1 Phoebus Phantoms coming from the Peninsula District over in Hampton. Now, what we want to do, we're not going to spend too much time breaking down the games. We're going to wish our guys here locally the best of luck. I just think it's awesome, Coach, how we have a shot to sweep all 4 classes that are represented by the 757. We could sweep all 4 classes in the state championship in the next 2 weeks, Coach. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't even think we can. I know we can because I know that Phoebus thing had the kids, had the wife. It's going to be ugly. I'm just telling you.
Phoebus going to get after it, Coach.
They ain't had no business putting the 3 in the way. You know that. I know that. So let's stop the games. We need to get the playoffs right, people.
Now, the team they're playing is the defending 3A state champions. I'm just saying. Magna Vista, undefeated.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Don't eat your words.
So my mom, she ain't playing.
Okay. All right.
All right. Then you got your 4A. Talking about Lake Taylor.
Yeah, they're facing Cortland High School. Cortland beat Lafayette last week. Let's give them respect. They beat Lafayette last week.
I'm giving people respect because you get a certain point of the season. You did what you had to do from the fall all the way up to now. You're where you're supposed to be, but sometimes talent just reigns supreme, and it's just hard to be able to beat that much talent. It's hard to.
Play to the talented team.
Then we got
Indian River. Big win last week. We accurately predicted by the week. Last week we predicted that almost to the score. You called it 24-21. It was 21-17. Big play by Julian Beckett at the end to steal the game.
Exactly.
Big win at Darling Stadium.
I think that they learned a lot from that win because it was a win, but it probably wasn't the biggest.
They might could have won that game by a bigger margin.
But you know, like I say, I apologize for the wins, and there ain't no moral victories. So look, they got a dub. You're going on to play.
Stay Simmons. You got Highland Springs tomorrow afternoon.
You see how they do? I think they probably get the offense cranking up a little bit earlier. So, I'm not really familiar with Highland Springs, but, when you get them with that type of defensive force, it's really tough to game plan for the speed until you get on the field to play. You got to see that.
Julian Beckett, film does not do them justice.
Yeah,
I've seen them in person, so have you. Film does not do them justice. Speaking of local athletes, Coach, we have 2 of our 757 University athletes here with us today. Senior at Nancy River High School, Demetrius Stentman, and his younger brother, Cameron Stentman. I'm going to bring both of those on the platform with us right now so we can talk to these young men.
On there, fellas.
What's up, DJ?
What's up,
this is Big Demetrius, a senior at Nancy River. His younger brother, Cam, worked very hard. Great young man, great in the classroom. We just want you guys to have an opportunity to shout out to everybody that not only follows Nancy River, but follows what we do. Now, DJ, I know you and I were talking last week. You did receive your first full Division I offer from Norfolk State, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give us an idea so the younger guys that watch the podcast can understand some of the concepts of what goes on and what that process is like when you're being recruited and a college finally does offer you. Tell us a little about that.
Well, for starters, for me, when I was getting recruited, it was slow to start off with. It just depends. You have to work. Put in a whole bunch of work in practice. Stay back after practice, even to get that extra work in, because you can't never get enough work. But it'll always work out in the long run.
How much time would you say you spent, especially this year as your senior year, really focusing on academics? Because you carry a 3.2 GPA?
3.2. Okay,
3.2 GPA, ladies and gentlemen. We're big on GPA here at 757U. You carry a 3.2 GPA. How much time would you say that you also had to put into not just, after practice and working hard at your craft and in the weight room and so on, but you actually had to put weight room time in academically, taking books home, making sure you were up to date on your assignments? Give us a percentage. Was it a true 50-50? You literally had to dedicate that much time to academics. Tell the kids at home how much time you put into academics.
It was more of a 60-40 because if you don't have your academics, you're not going to make it in football.
That's right.
That's the first thing they ask you. They ask you for your GPA. They ask you for your test scores. And if you don't have those, you're not competitive. There's a whole bunch of athletes out here that have better scores than you, that have better GPAs than you, so you want to make yourself as competitive as possible. So get your scores right and get your GPA right.
And I want to tell folks listening at home, don't just think that if you put all the time in on academics that you won't be able to put time in to perform on the field. DJ was first team all-conference in 5A South. as a defensive end, correct?
Yes, sir.
First team all-conference as a 5A South defensive end. He recorded 14 sacks this season, over 20 tackles for a loss, 54 solo tackles, correct?
Yes, sir.
He also was the Defensive Player of the Year run-up. Jaquan Yulee at Indian River won Defensive Player of the Year in 5A South. This man right here, Demetrius Stentman, was a runner-up right behind him with the second place votes. So don't think for 1 second that when you put time in the classroom that you're not able to see a performance on the field and put time on the field. Now, DJ, one of the last things I want to mention, and we don't have to discuss this very long. I know you lost your father about a year and a half ago. And you really, talked to me off the camera a couple times about how hard you wanted to work this season, how you wanted to dedicate this season to that. Because you're named after your father, you are a junior, and it was a big deal for you to really perform this season and to be able to come out, led Nansemond River to a 7-3 season, had a playoff berth, and really performed well and received all conference honors. How did that make you feel this season as a captain, being able to represent your dad that way?
I was just thankful. I was grateful. I know my father, he loves football. He's played football ever since he was younger. He's helped us get to where we are now. We've taken us to practice down at the city park. We worked out there since we was younger. And he's never missed a game. I've always looked up and haven't seen him in the stands along with my mother and the rest of my family that comes and support us. So I was just thankful to be able to make a difference.
That's awesome. Before I let you guys go, I want to talk to your little brother. Cameron was a sophomore on the Nansemond River team this year. He was a big contributor on special teams. Now, Cam, one of the questions I want to ask you, your brother was a defensive captain. Your brother was in that huddle all the time. He was one of the leaders on the team as a senior. What was it like every practice going to practice? Not only the coaches hold you accountable, but you got your brother holding you accountable as well. What is it like to be on the same team with your big brother, knowing you got them eyes looking at you every day in practice? Give us an idea of what that's like, Cam.
I mean, it was great. I mean, we have a competitive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So
he pushed you and made you better, basically.
Yeah.
Having him around can make you better. Now,
in the weight room and on the football field.
Right, in the weight room on the football field, I like that. Not only does he push you on the field, but he pushes you off the field. And I imagine he pushes you academically too as well, does he not?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, DJ, before we let you guys go, is if I were to take all the underclassmen at Nansemond, if I were to take all the underclassmen at 757U or in the Tidewater area and put them in a room, the young guys, the freshmen, the sophomores, what would you say to them as a senior that's received a college scholarship offer and basically you've accomplished part of your goals? What would you say to them and say, hey guys, make sure you do this because I wish I'd have done this better? What would you say to them?
I would tell them, for starters, grades. Get your grades right. You can't go nowhere without your grades. Once your grades are good, practice. You can't get enough practice. Lift weights. Because I know I walk around school all the time and I see guys. When I was during the off season, I walk around and I see guys skipping practice and stuff like that, skipping weight training. And like you trying to get better. You're trying to go somewhere with football. And you can't go somewhere skipping practices and doing stuff like that. You need to put in every single chance you get to get better. You need to make sure that you take advantage of it. So just don't miss any opportunities to get better because you don't ever get your opportunities back. Just take advantage of every opportunity.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Get your grades right and take an opportunity to get better. Speaking of opportunity to get better, you will meet DJ and Cameron if you come out to the Combine on January 9th. These are the kind of young men that we have in our organization. Work hard, academics, and it'll lead to a performance in the field. DJ, I want to thank you for stopping by here at Greg's Airbrushing. The stuff that you see myself, Coach Jax, and these young men wearing come courtesy of Greg's Airbrushing right here at 4200 Portsmouth Boulevard. Come through. They will take care of you the same way they take care of our guys. Greg's Airbrushing is supporting our local athletes and supporting us, so come through, make sure you support them. Appreciate it, Cam. Come by anytime. I'll see you guys later. Come through on January 9th. All right, guys. Now that you guys have had a chance to meet Cameron and meet DJ, those are just two of the young men that we have here with us at 757U. What we want to do is we want to take the time to talk about something, Coach, that you heard DJ touch on about having his mom in the stands and always look up and seeing his dad there. You heard us touch on it briefly in our last episode. We have a lot of good football teams around here. We have a lot of young men that are talented, receiving college scholarships, got good academics. These young men could be doing anything negative in our communities, but they're doing something positive on the football field, working hard both on and off the field. So my question is, Coach, what can we do, going forward? Tell the folks about some of the things we can do to get people to come out and support these younger men in bigger margins and in bigger numbers. What is something you think that we can do going forward as an organization? Tell the folks about some of the things we're going to be doing.
Well, a couple of things is people love events. Now, it used to be when I was growing up, back in the days, Frankie Lawrence High School, that was an event every week.
You took it back. Frankie
I'm
Lawrence.
going back.
Good.
I'm going all the way back. So, like, basically, like, every weekend, every Friday, it's an event. So you got to kind of get that event back into the community. So, you know, we try to partner with some of these, maybe a couple of entertainment companies or radio stations, something like that, so we can get some promotional stuff to get out there, so we can have a group initiative. So everybody, it's not just for the teams that I like or personally like, or the kids that we support for our 757 University. It's everybody, because, you know, whether it's middle school, high school, Pop Warner, like, you need to be out there to watch your kids play. Now, I know we all got lives, we got to work and all that good stuff, but you got to catch a couple of these games.
Exactly.
When you start having
These kids can play.
look, I was just talking to one of the cheerleaders, the cheerleader coach at Churchland, at the Churchland facilities over here, and they were saying that their team is about to go to Florida.
Really?
Did you know that?
You talking about Churchland Tigers?
Yes.
Yo, the Pop Warner team.
Yeah, Pop Warner team.
Yeah.
They're going to Florida. They needed $15,000 to be to go. They basically, the deadline for that was yesterday. So they had to go by. They was putting money in the helmet to try to get there. But see, if you got people that's coming out and supporting the teams, those teams are going. There ain't no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what happened when I was growing up playing football back in the day. We didn't have any problems. The only thing we was worrying about is who gonna volunteer to chaperone, because nobody didn't want to chaperone.
Right.
But we ain't had a problem.
You
We
knew you
funds
were
getting
going.
there. We were going. We had plenty gate. You know, people was coming. You know,
Standing room only in some of those games.
this is one of those things you just have to. It's a community thing where you just got to understand that that's when you're talking about you go in the mall and it's a group of kids and they don't know how to act. You know why? Because you live in a community and they don't know who you are. You know why? Because you don't come to any of this stuff.
You don't want to support them when
You
they,
don't want to support
You
it.
don't want to support them when they're doing something positive, but you're the first one to point out when they're doing something negative. And that's, I think, something we need to take advantage of in our community. For every young man that's doing something negative, yeah, there are young men like the ones you met today that are out there in their community doing something positive, working hard, have great academics. They have all these things, and we need to support those kids that are doing that. Support the kids that are not out there on the streets, that are not out there doing something negative. Support the young men that are out there playing ball and doing what they're supposed to be doing, both in the classroom and on the field. And, Coach, this leads me to something. We're talking about the lack of attendance in games. And one of the issues that I'm going to point out that I think we have here in 757 is because we have 4 different classes as far as, you know, competition. We have 4 different classes represented here in the 757, 6, 5, 4, and 3A. One of the issues that we're facing, ladies and gentlemen, is we're facing a situation where a lot of these games that are taking place in the regular season are not competitive football games. There's no need to sugarcoat it. There's no need to walk around it. They're not competitive football games. This year, Lake Taylor was undefeated in the regular season. Their closest game was against Norview, a 7-point victory. Norview was a playoff team. They played against DJ and Cameron a few weeks ago in the playoffs. However, with the exception of Norview, Coach, the average margin of victory for Lake Taylor this year was 30-plus points during the regular season. People are not going to come out, ladies and gentlemen, and watch these blowouts. What we have to do is create an environment. And we actually went this week and talked to some folks locally and say, hey, what do you want to see? Because, Coach, this is me. This is what I want to see. We have 4 teams in the 757 that are competing for a state title right now. But they didn't play each other. Phoebus did not play Indian River this year.
Of course not.
Indian River did not play Lake Taylor this year.
Of course
Oscar Smith did not play Phoebus this year.
Of course not.
These teams did not play each other. So why not give our local fans an opportunity to see the local talent that we have?
See, this is the whole thing about when you're dealing with the system, because the playoffs are broken. For one, you have all these different sections of this. You have this enrollment for this school, this enrollment for that school. Now, the whole enrollment thing doesn't really apply to this area as much as it does to some schools
because the talent
in
is
other
here.
areas. So when you go and you chop it up and say, okay, Phoebus, you're going 3A, so you can win every next state championship until
You're going to be competing for a state title for the next 20
until
years.
Norfolk actually gets a team, because they didn't really have one. They had an off
Norfolk
year.
had a tough season
So
this year.
you know, you got some teams that's they're gonna suffer. But then the only problem that I'm having with that, Coach, is, okay, let's say we get Phoebus and Lake Taylor and Oxford Smith and Ocean Lakes to play each other, right? So now when you go into your respective conferences, then you got losses. So guess what? You're not getting home playoff games. So that's not gonna help you out.
For the viewers at home, and say this: a home playoff game doesn't matter because the VHSL took over the playoffs 4 years ago. That's the issue we have now. That's why when we go to playoff games, ladies and gentlemen, you may notice, for instance, you hosted a playoff game Norview, you hosted a playoff game Lake Taylor. Guess what? Did you not notice that you paid more at the gate to go watch the playoff game than you did the regular season game? Why? Because your ticket says VHSL on it, so they're controlling the prices and they're making the money off of your team's local home playoff game. So why not have these teams play against each other in the regular season. So not only we can keep the money in-house for our local high schools and keep the money in-house for our local community, but give you an opportunity to pay a cheaper price to come see a better product. That's basically what it's about. Now, here's the other solution. A lot of times they talk about travel and different things because we have 40 public high schools here in Hampton Roads. But guess what, Coach? Basketball plays 20-some-odd games, playing more than one game a week, and they don't play the old district schedule. Football is the only sport that does. So if basketball can make it work, playing multiple games a week, playing 20-some-odd games in a regular season, why can't football make it work? Here's what I propose. We're going to go and talk to folks this season. We're going to go talk to folks on Word and ask them. Here's what I propose. We have 10 regular season games. The old district was the East, the Southeast, the Beach, and the Peninsula. Now, it just so happens all those districts have around 10 football teams in each district, right? So let's do this. Let's tell each athletic director that we're going to view them as 4 different conferences. The Beach, the Southeast, the East, and the Peninsula. 4 different districts, 4 different conferences. Each year, when you play your 10 regular season games, you have to play 5 games in district, and you have to schedule 5 games outside of your district. If you make every team do it, there can't be no, oh, they don't want to play us, and they don't want to play us. They're mandated by the VHSL to do it. Now, here's the other way you get around it. The 5 games that you have to play outside of district and the 5 games that you have to play in district, 5 of those games, whether it be in or out, have to be the same class of your program. For instance, if you're Oscar Smith and you're a 6A program, you must play 5 6A schools every season. Guess what, Coach? In the Southeastern District, there's only 3 total programs in 6A. Oscar Smith, Grassfield, and Western Branch. So what that would do is force them to play 3 teams of a 6A caliber on their regular season. Now here's what that's going to do. What would you rather see? Would you rather see Oscar Smith play a Lansdowne or a Bayside or a Woodside in the regular season in a good competitive football game for both teams that we all can enjoy? Or would you rather them play a school that doesn't have the ability to compete because of enrollment size and because of dexterity, and possibly, like we've seen before around here, a 4 or 5-star recruit get injured in a game that's a blowout, and you might have affected this team's state championship hopes or this team's playoff promise in a game that they shouldn't even be playing. The team that's losing that game shouldn't have to play them, and the team that's up by 49 at halftime shouldn't have to play them.
This is what I say about this. Your soliloquy. It's not good.
He said soliloquy.
And you talk a lot. You see that, right? So, but I'm right. You're right to a point. Now, this is the whole thing. You're talking about enrollment, which I get the enrollment thing, because there's no doubt in my mind that a 3A Phoebus
can play with 5A in River.
It will be a 5A
Hickory.
Be 5A Hickory. They'd be
4A Deep Creek.
They be Princess Anne. So, the enrollment thing, stop with the enrollment thing. We already know
stop that.
With the, the competitive advantages. Now, see, the only problem is you have the beach. That's the problem. The beach is the problem. You know why? Because
you got 5 and 6A schools only.
They got 5 6A schools, plus they have 11 members. So they basically did that purposely so they can lock everybody up so they don't play anybody.
I understand that.
So you're not going to be able to get that same type of balance when you have, then they're going to go back and see what they're going to say is traditional rivalry. Now, when you go back to the other districts, you go to Eastern District, the Southeastern District, Eastern District, they split. So there is still some traditional rivalry from Southeastern District to Eastern District, correct?
True.
So you have the Norcom Deep Creek rivalry. That's been going on for years.
They played for years.
They played for years. You have basically Norcom and everybody in the Southeastern District, basically, except for the newer schools, Grassfield. That's not a traditional rivalry because that school wasn't existing. You had Hickory. The school didn't exist. So talking about a lot of non-existent schools. But see, now what you have is you have the Eastern District, and that's where the problem lies in. For one, don't nobody want to share their game with Eastern District school because don't nobody come to the game. Let's go and just say that.
Hey, you said it.
Nobody come to the games.
They don't come to the games.
Nobody want to come to the games because, for one, you have to be able to get the community involved to be able to come to the games. Because if people don't feel like they come to the
best
game,
team and they struggle to sell the games.
Well, I ain't even gonna say about the best team or the competitive advantage or anything. I'm saying people want to feel safe when they come to the game. Okay, you want to be able to come to the game, and the only way to be able to feel safe when you come to the game is for everybody to come to the game. Look, if that's your neighbor, you know who this guy is. You know you got the bad guy that's gonna come in there, but you can't let those people stop us from going to support our kids. So what we need to be able to do is make sure that we support those Eastern District teams. You're gonna have a really good gate for some of those other Southeastern District schools because that's just how it is. But we got to make sure that advantage is there. See, when you do that, Because see, guess what happens when kids and community connect? You get, oh, grades are better. Because guess what? We actually paying attention to what's happening. So we don't have problems with accreditation, right? So that means that we're shining.
We've seen in the Eastern District,
right? So that means that as parent, coach, when I ain't Coach Jackson, I turn into Mr. Jackson. When I send my son and my daughter to school, I'm not gonna send them to a school that's not accredited because I want my kids to go to college. So now I feel good. Okay, I can send my kid to Wilson. I can send my kid to Booker T. I can send my kid to Norview because I know that they'll be able to get a quality education there and be safe, and it's a really good environment. So that's what it means by supporting your schools and supporting everything that's in the area. So we have to be able to do that, and I think that the principals, because that's where it really lies in, because when they did the districting with all the conferences, it's all the principals that make these decisions.
Yeah.
Because
to sum it
all
up,
BHSL does is the rules.
To sum it up, because we want to get Greg in here and let him talk about his business for a few minutes. To sum it up, yes, the principals and ADs do a lot of decision making, and we understand it and we know that. We're not claiming to have all the answers here. I put that scenario out there because we talked about it off the air, and I wanted to put it out there on the air to get opinions on it. The point is, the system is broken, and it needs to be fixed. Because these local teams that are very, very good and very, very competitive need to have an opportunity to play against each other so we can see it, and we can see the high level of competition. For example, and I'll wrap it up like this. I'll put it like this. When Ocean Lakes and Oscar Smith played a great football game the other night, there was what? 10 or 12 Division I commits on that field. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. We're going to get Greg up here to talk about his company, talk about what he does here, and the great work that he does for us here at 757 University. Stay tuned. We're going to bring Greg on here in just a few minutes. What's up, everybody? We're here with my man Kyrie at Flashlight Barbershop here in Chesapeake Square Mall. Once again, getting the word on the street, as y'all just saw. Kyrie, quick question for you, man. How you doing, boss?
Pretty good.
All right, quick question. We got 4 local teams, high school football. Phoebus, Lake Taylor, Indian River, and Oscar Smith. All 4 competing for the state championship this coming weekend. All right. Now, here's the kicker, though. They didn't get a chance to play each other in a regular season. All right. Now, what I want to ask you is, do you think these teams should get a shot to compete against each other? And if so, would you come and pay and see them play?
Oh, absolutely, man. I think that Oscar Smith and especially Phoebus, they've had a great program for a long time over in the Peninsula area. And Oscar Smith here lately in the 2000s has been doing their thing.
They're about unbeatable.
So I don't know why they wouldn't play. Everybody wants to see it.
Exactly.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. People, and you would come and pay and see these teams play, right? In the regular season. Even if they had a rematch against each other in the playoffs, you still would come see part 2, right?
I come see it every time.
Exactly. People want to see the competition. If we want to change the number of people that are coming to the games, change the product that's on the field. Put these teams playing up against other top teams in our area and watch the Division I athletes compete against you. Am I right?
You ain't saying nothing wrong.
All right. Now, we're going to talk to my man right here, Dante. Dante also works here at Flashlight. He was listening to the conversation. He wanted to get on action. Dante, I don't know if you heard what I said to Kyrie. Real simple, man. Word on the street. We got 4 teams competing locally for state titles tomorrow. Phoebus, Indian River, Lake Taylor, and Oscar Smith. Here's the kicker, though. They didn't get a chance to play against each other in the regular season. Now, what I'm going to ask you, simply ask Kyrie, would you come and pay and see these top teams in our 757 area competing against each other on Friday night? Would you like to see that?
Absolutely.
Okay, now give me a reason why that would make you want to come. What is it about it?
Well, the biggest thing is those are the best of the best. So the only way you get a true definition of who's the best is by playing each other.
Play. So you're kind of like a lot of our viewers. You say, okay, you're the state champion, but there's 3 teams 2 cities away within 30 minutes of a ride that you didn't even play against. So I see what you're saying. You want to see the best play against the best. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first, live on 757U, word on the street. We want to see the competition. These guys want to pay and come see the best teams in Tidewater match up against each other on Friday night. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Greg's Airbrush in Chesapeake Square Mall, 4200 Portsmouth Boulevard, with my man, Greg Edwards, owner, CEO, manager, the guy that does everything,
all that stuff,
and then sometimes does nothing. He's the guy, as I said before, that took care of our shirts for us. Everything that we wear here at 757U, Greg and his company, his big busy team work hard for it. Greg, I know you are not from the area. You're not from the 757, but you got a lot of roots here. Your kids go to school here. You know why you live here. You're retired military, right?
Yep.
Well, what branch and how many years?
Navy, 20. My wife is 20 as well. We also have a son, Cameron. He's been in a little bit over 3 years now.
Okay.
So definitely love the Navy. Definitely military family.
Military family, love the Navy. The Navy is what brought you guys here
Yep.
at 757.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, now, We know you guys do a lot of interesting things here at Greg's Airbrushing inside of the mall. Obviously, the shirts and things like that. Give us an idea of some of the capabilities you guys have here in-house in this big shop that you have. What are some of the things you guys work on here?
Well, we do a little bit of everything. First and foremost, when you come in, you can get anything that you want customized the way you want it. It doesn't have to be something that you see on the wall. If you come in and say, hey, Greg, I'd like to have a balloon painted on a shirt or on a car, on a motorcycle, it doesn't matter. Whatever color you want, how you want it to look, if you can imagine it, we can do it. Also, this here is the t-shirt department where we're at.
Okay.
We also have back here about 1,000 more square footage of automotive department. So we can do cars, motorcycles, helmets, like I mentioned earlier.
Is that what that is over there? The,
Yes.
the helmets I see, custom
Hard
designs?
hats.
Okay.
Pretty
Yeah,
nice.
that's
Engine parts.
I see the motorcycle that you guys did right there.
That's some old school stuff or something.
Oh, yeah. And motorcycle helmets, full face shields. We have a gentleman by the name of Nick Lytle that does our automotive, gets us prepped and ready to go. So when we get something in to airbrush, he'll call me and say, hey, Greg, I'm ready, I'm prepped, I'm ready to go.
Awesome.
Put this on.
And all that's done is in-house?
In-house.
All that is in-house? ladies and
One-stop
gentlemen.
shop.
Okay, now, speaking of shops, in a one-stop, business, not only can you get your items such as your motorcycles, your helmets, your work hard hats, and your t-shirts done, but now you guys are actually doing human bodies. And I
Absolutely.
say that
Human
because
bodies.
just, what was it, April?
April 23rd.
This past April 23rd, Greg opened up, what is the name? Greg's
Tattoos.
Greg's Tattoos, Post
Oh, yeah.
Boulevard, just down the street from the mall.
Yep,
What
right next to
exactly-
Subway.
Right next to Subway in the shopping center. Now, tell us a little bit about some of the specials and some of the things you guys got going on there and some of the artists you have. I don't know if they're local artists, but just tell us about what y'all got going on there.
Well, for the most part, all our artists are local,
Okay.
state certified. And the one thing that we're able to do there is we do custom. If you walk into the shop, you'll notice that we don't have flash on the wall.
Okay.
So no one is going to have the same tattoo.
Gotcha.
When you walk in, everything's custom. We stick with that theme. Got to have a custom. The last thing you want is for someone to have the same tattoo that you have.
Right, your tattoo.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, cool.
we will never do that.
Gotcha.
And we're going to give you that personal touch. We're normally going to give you more than what you paid for.
Gotcha.
So whatever it is you want, we can bring it to life, whether it's a portrait all the way down to a tattoo on your finger.
Gotcha.
One of the things that we do that most tattoo shops around the area in the 757 don't do is we tattoo minors as well.
Okay.
So if you want a tattoo, you're under 18, you're under 16.
Gotcha.
As long as you're with your parent or guardian, we can tattoo.
Okay, under 18, you heard it here first. Greg's Tattoo can definitely take care of you, male or female. But do you require parental consent, or does it matter?
Absolutely. If underage,
Okay.
absolutely. Have to be there through the duration of the tattoo process.
Okay.
But of course, 18 and above, hey, don't
Same
let that.
with
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now,
Hey, one
last
more
question. Do you guys do piercings?
Not at this point. We're actually licensed to do piercings.
Okay.
But we have a young lady by the name of Victoria who's actually taking the piercing course to be able to pierce. And so she's going to be our piercer here, hopefully in the immediate future.
Okay, before we get you out of here, one more question, Coach Jack.
Yeah, we're talking about retirement,
Yep.
retire from Navy. So I know that you are a member of the Tired Eagles fan club. So how's that working out for you this season?
Well, right now it's not working out too well. I
Greg
mean,
loves sports, ladies and gentlemen.
I love
so-
sports. I love my Eagles. Big time Michael Vick fan. So
Yeah, we know it.
When Michael Vick came to the Eagles, I was really happy about that. So right now it's tough. I mean, we're dealing with a situation where we have a new coach that came in for the most part, got rid of all our
Talent.
the
Yeah.
talent.
What it is.
for the most part,
You can
yeah.
be real on our show.
And
Generic, you get the plain T-shirt now.
I got a plain T-shirt,
Plain
so
t-shirt.
I'm gonna stick with the Eagles though. As long as we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, make sure y'all come down here, check Greg out because he claimed that he's cornhole champ.
I am the cornhole champ.
He got
Bell on the wall.
Got it.
So
Got the custom made cornholes.
No doubt.
Custom
We do
made
cornhole boards as well.
he claimed he's
Uh,
the cornhole champ. I ain't never
hey.
had a chance to get him. We gonna see about that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, tell you what, Greg, here's what we're going to do. Next time we come through here, we're going to have a segment of you and Coach Jax head-to-head on your custom-made cornhole board.
I can't wait.
You
Sounds
accept the
good.
challenge?
I accept
All
it.
right,
He really
man.
want it. He don't
Appreciate it,
really want
Greg.
it.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for stopping through. Y'all come
Absolutely.
support Greg's Tattoo and Greg's Airbrushing.
Absolutely.